Hello YouTubers, my name is LethalGhost, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Imperial Starfighters. Or I guess we should say the Imperial air vehicles, since there will not be any space battles in Star Wars Battlefront. Dice, please. So right now I am flying in the TIE Fighter, which has been the most maneuverable aircraft in the beta. It is armed with twin laser cannons and an ion torpedo. And it can take out X-Wings pretty easily. And I'm just going in for a ground strafe here, as I don't see any other air vehicles up right now. The Rebel spawn for the air vehicles is going to be the direction I'm looking now. It's back towards those generators at the back of the map. That's where they're going to be coming in from. So I need to keep an eye out over there. Now, I just shot my ion torpedo at a mass of infantry, and it is capable of taking out ground targets. But one thing that you have to worry about is the ion torpedo and anything that you shoot at all out of Imperial aircraft or Rebel aircraft, they don't go exactly where your crosshair is aiming. I've been flying straight, level, and my missiles have been going above the crosshair, below the crosshair, on the crosshair. They don't really go to the right or to the left at all, but they do shoot high or low. And it just seems random whenever they do it. Now, and another thing, just because you have a lock on somebody, you'll see the reticle turn red. Just because you have a lock on somebody does not mean that you can fire a missile from any aircraft and it's going to hit them. You have to fire it in the general direction of where they're going to be. And here we have an inside look at the cockpit here, and it looks really good. But there is absolutely no reason to use this at all, and I definitely wouldn't recommend using that first-person view whenever you're in a dogfight or there are other enemy vehicles in the air. You're just limiting yourself. You don't have nearly the field of view that you would have if you're in third person. And since you cannot look around your aircraft at all, it's very easy to lose enemies who are flying around you if you're in first person because of the extremely limited view. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the abilities that the TIE Fighter has is that it has access to the ion torpedoes, which are useful for taking out infantry and other air vehicles. And also, its other ability is a speed boost, which, as far as I can tell, is just about useless because an A-Wing is going to be able to keep up with you, which the Rebels have access to the A-Wings starting at halfway through the match on Hoth. And X-Wings aren't going to be able to catch you, but the speed boost is not going to get you out of missile range. So what can you do as a TIE Fighter pilot to get away from the missiles of the A-Wing and the X-Wing, since you don't have the armor ability that the Rebel starfighters do? Well, all of the aircraft in the game have evasive maneuvers, which can be triggered by just hitting one button, which I really don't like at all because it just makes it too easy to evade anything. But the one good thing about it, the only thing the evasive maneuvers are good for is dodging missiles, and that's it. Because if you have a good pilot, there's absolutely no way that one of these evasive maneuvers is going to shake them off your tail. I have seen it constantly, and you'll see it several times throughout this video. If you see somebody roll to the left or roll to the right or do a big half loop, that is whenever they triggered the evasive move, and it doesn't do anything. It's pretty easy to keep up with the player after they do that. And I've even had the ion torpedoes follow people through these evasive maneuvers, so I'm not exactly sure what they're too good at doing. And now here I am flying out in the TIE Interceptor. It is armed with the ion torpedo and the speed boost, just like the regular TIE fighter, but what's different is that it has 4 laser cannons instead of just the 2. So it is a little bit more powerful than the regular TIE fighter and a little bit less maneuverable. The Imperials get access to the TIE Interceptors at the 3rd stage on the Hoth Walker Assault map, which is when they really need it, because those airspeeders there have more armor than the X-Wings and the A-Wings, and they can fire their tow cable and take down the AT-ATs as soon as they're exposed. So if you don't see 2 of those airspeeders going by and you don't take them out in time, then they can very easily end the match, and that's a win for the Rebels. And that is actually going to be my biggest tip for the Rebels in Walker Assault on Hoth, at least in its current state. The Rebels need to get air superiority early in the match and keep it, because those air vehicles can do a lot of damage to the AT-ATs whenever they're vulnerable. If the Rebels have 2 X-Wings up in the air at the first set of uplinks whenever the AT-ATs first become vulnerable at the beginning of the match, if 2 X-Wings focus their fire on 1 AT-AT, they can get it down by themselves. You'll notice here the blue sheen over the airspeeder that I'm shooting at. That means that it's armored, so don't even waste your ion torpedoes or anything else shooting. You can shoot your lasers, just don't overheat them, because they have a pretty quick cooldown to where they can pop the armor fairly quickly again. As I said in my beta impressions video, I'm really not a big fan of how they chose to do the flying. I really don't like the one-button evasive maneuvers, but it's not nearly as bad as it could have been. It is still somewhat fun from time to time. Fun enough that I will be having a Rebel Air Vehicles video up next. Till next time, guys, fly smart, check your 6, and stay lethal.